So we're going to make a web application using a little library called Flask. Let's quickly talk about what we mean by web application. This is what the internet basically looks like. We have web servers running somewhere, probably far away, and we have client devices, phones, laptops, etc., which connect to that web server. So you connect to it by just typing in the URL, and that goes to the address of this web server. And this web server is running a little program, and that program takes your connection, your request, and sends back a web page. And it dynamically generates that web page. So instead of being a static file which never changes, it's actually running a program which creates that file. And that program is using Flask. Let's have a quick look at what that looks like. So we import the Flask library to begin with, and we've got these couple of lines which basically get the server running. That's not actually doing anything particularly yet. What we need is a route. So I happen to have in my clipboard this is saying when you go to the home route, so you don't type anything on the end of the URL, it runs this little function here. This one happens to be called index, could be called anything, and it'll run a program and then return the web page. In this case, it's just going to be this hello world message. We'll get a little bit more complicated later. It's just proof of concept. So if I run this by clicking this button, it says it's running on 127.0.0.1. That is the IP address of this computer. That's localhost is what it's called. And port 5000 is just a default port it's using. So if I click follow that link, 127.0.0.1, the local computer has just returned hello world, and that's basically all we're doing here. So I'm just going to stop it. Control C to quit, it says. And let's add in a second route. I'm going to do this by Control C, Control V, Control C, Control V, and it's going to be app.route/page2. Can't have two endpoints the same, so they can't both be called index. So I'm going to call this one page 2. Again, could be called anything, just is quite descriptive to have it called the same thing. And I'm going to say this is page 2. Save that and run it again. So again, back to localhost, which is still here. If I refresh that, hello world hasn't changed. But if I add on the end of this /page2, this is page 2. So you can see this is making the request to the server, and the server is detecting the route that you're the slash or the page 2 and doing the program. That's basically what we're going to be doing for the next few weeks.